Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz with me, Deepika, your daily half-an-hour window that brings you all the latest news and updates from different sporting arenas. In the next half an hour, we're going to bring you all the latest from what is happening in the world of cricket, football and a lot more. Let's quickly begin with the top headlines of the hour. India versus England fifth and final test all set to take place in scenic Dharamshala from Thursday onwards. Young lads through Sarfaraz would look forward to leave a historic mark with the fifth and final. In football, PSG and Bayern Munich book a spot in quarterfinals round of the Champions League. Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane scores a brace each. And in a major boost to athletes, Union Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur announces eligibility of Khelo India athletes for securing government jobs. Additionally, games and events instructed to ensure inclusivity across various sports as well. First up, the latest on cricket. Now, in the games of milestones, England's Johnny Bairstow and India's Ravichandran Ashwin are all set to share their centennial test match when two teams clash in Dharamshala on Thursday. Though Indians are ahead in the 5-match series by 3-1, England would here look forward to make the match memorable by playing competitive and entertaining cricket, hopefully capping it with a victory as well. There's a report that tells you all about it. Take a look.
The fifth and final test between India and England will be a testament to a rare moment in sporting annals. In the game of milestones, two players from opposing teams, England's Johnny Bairstow and India's Ravichandran Ashwin, are set to share their 100th match in Dharamshala. India have already clinched the series 3-1 with a 5-wicket victory in the fourth test in Ranchi. But they would press for 4-1 scoreline, while England too fancy themselves in the conditions which is similar to their home. India is unlikely to fiddle with their bowling combination of two pacers and three spinners. Jasprit Bumrah will return to strengthen the pace attack with Mohammad Siraj. Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav will share spin duties. But the hosts have concerns in the batting. Rajat Patidar aggregates only 63 runs in 6 innings in his debut series. Top order batsman Devdutt Padikkal could be an option. For England, the bowling has fared fairly well, but batters have been inconsistent. Though there have been a few sparking innings from Zach Crawley, Ollie Pope and Ben Duckett, but Bairstow and skipper Ben Stokes have been below par. It has been the first series defeat under Stokes and head coach Brendan McCullum, but the tourist would like to make the match memorable with a win. Sports Desk, DD India.
And now to discuss more on this, I'm joined by Suchitra Bharadwaj from DD India Newsroom and John Beaver from Bristol. A very good evening to both DD India correspondents and thank you so much for joining us here on DD India Sports Buzz. John, first of all, coming to you, the best ball approach, it has totally collapsed. So what do you expect ahead of the fifth and final test from Team England, John?
Well, for England, it really has been a very disappointing winter, hasn't it? Remember, of course, England in the World Cup, they only won 3 of 9 matches. They were heavily tipped going into it. Very disappointing for them. They didn't make the semi-finals. And then when we come to the Test series as well, facing an Indian team inexperienced and depleted by injuries, England have really failed to deliver, as we've heard in that most recent report. England's batting has struggled in India. They will be hoping to put that right tomorrow. In terms of changes, there's one change in the bowling attack for England. Mark Wood is coming in. Ollie Robinson is out. Also in the bowling, we have Jimmy Anderson, the England bowling legend. He is 2 wickets short of his 700th wicket, so he will be hoping to maybe break that milestone. He's only now 10 Test wickets behind the late great Shane Warne, so he'll be hoping to overcome him from a personal point of view. But from a team point of view, England very disappointed with how they've performed in India. There were questions, especially after the third test, where England got an absolute hammering, lost by more than 400 runs. There have been questions about this tactic, this Bazball tactic, which sees them playing very aggressive, exciting, almost one-day cricket, even in a test match. Some people saying that actually you can't play that kind of cricket all the time, and that an Indian team really put them to the sword and taught them a lesson in terms of that actually sometimes you have to sit back and not be aggressive, and that's the way to win test matches. So there will be a lot of interest in this fifth and final test. But of course, as you've already said, England just playing for pride at this point. They've already lost the series 3-1, so they will be hoping for a better performance in this final test at the end of what has been a long tour of India this winter.
And after seeing the performance overall in all the test matches that we've witnessed so far, this is the fifth and final one, but in the first fours when we talk about, and considering the performance and now the ultimate changes that England is coming up with, would they work? Would they be able to see the magic that England is expecting to with these changes, John?
Well, certainly England will be hoping for a better performance, won't they? Because they have really underperformed, is how England see it. Of course, the England players, the England coaching staff have been putting a positive spin on it, have been trying to pick out the positives. As we've already mentioned, some batsmen doing pretty well, some bowlers doing pretty well. But overall, as a team, they have been second best to India. India have been solid, if not spectacular, was how I saw it described here in the English press. But I think at times India have really shown the way forward, that when it comes to test matches, you have to build these big totals. You have to make sensible decisions with the shots you play to keep your batsmen in, to really build up these totals. And England have been punished on a couple of occasions with that. So England will be hoping that this change in their bowling attack, bringing Wood back in, that might be able to break down a few barriers, and that might mean that they can win this fifth and final test. But certainly they'll be hoping to go out on a high after what has been, let's be frank, a disappointing winter for the England men's cricket team.
John, we also have Suchitra who's joining us from DD India newsroom. Suchitra, we are talking about the performance of Team England here, and they've made certain changes to improve their performance. But overall, first of all, when we talk about India's performance, and especially by the young lads, what do you have to say about India's team, the Super 11, which have been consistently performing in the first fours?
Well, yes, Deepika, if we talk about India's performance in this particular series, the most surprising and the most, we can say, the pleasant surprise has been the performance of India's youth brigade. Beat the batters Yashasvi Jaiswal, Sarfaraz Khan, and beat the fast bowlers Akashdeep. Really impressed everyone with his performance in his very first match, and also Dhruv Jurel, who has performed with his bat, and as a wicketkeeper also, he has impressed everyone. When the series started, the odds were against India, because India was going to play without Virat Kohli. Lokesh Rahul also got injured, and Jasprit Bumrah also took a break for one match. But the Indian youth brigade, they made sure that India did not miss any of the veterans, we can say, and they have proved that they are capable of filling those shoes for India. So it's a welcome change for the Indian cricket team, and the future looks really bright for Indian cricket, because these youngsters will make sure that India will win series against any strong side in the world. And the way India has come back in this series, we lost the first test, but after that the bounce back has been remarkable, the way Indian team has performed, and we can say that the future looks bright for Indian cricket.
Indeed. And John, when we talk about the future of England also, first of all, it's going to be the 100th test match for Johnny Bairstow. But what are the strategies that England really need to work upon, the low lights that England need to look upon?
Yeah, so I think for England, I think they really need to decide whether Bazball is the way forward, named after their coach Brendan McCullum. They need to decide whether that is a tactic that they can keep using, that they can keep pushing ahead with. I think the danger is that although it's entertaining cricket, it gets people more interested in test cricket, it maybe boosts viewers, it boosts press coverage. if they're not going to be winning these test series that they feel that they should be winning, then of course questions are going to start to be asked about that. But as we just heard there, England have been playing an inexperienced Indian team, missing some world-class players, and yet India have still won this series. So there are questions that need to be asked about the tactics England use. It will be interesting to see whether in this fifth and final test match they push ahead with it. You would imagine that they do, but you would then think that probably after this series there will be a series of meetings behind closed doors to work out how England push ahead and go forward after what's been a disappointing winter.
And also here, England would be looking forward to bow out with a respectable, at least fifth match victory here. But Suchitra, when we talk about Team India, what are the key areas that India should also be careful of ahead of the fifth match?
Deepika, Dharamshala is going to be the only venue in this series where England will feel home, and rain is predicted for the first 2 days. So India, and Jasprit Bumrah is back, so we'll have to see how he fits in the team. India has the option to drop Kuldeep Yadav, but Kuldeep Yadav has really impressed with his performance. So to fit Jasprit Bumrah is going to be a problem, we can say, for Rohit Sharma, even though Bumrah is a key member of the team, but the way the Indian bowling lineup has performed in the last test match, it will be heartbreaking for any bowler to be dropped out of the team after that kind of performance. And also if we talk about the batting, I think Rajat Patidar has been the only batsman who has not performed really well till now, but the Indian management is giving him chances, because we have seen how this combination of Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma, they have backed the players because they know he has the ability, and it's just about time he performs. So Rajat Patidar and Jasprit Bumrah, these two players will have to keep an eye on how they fit in the team and who gets dropped when Jasprit Bumrah makes a comeback.
Indeed. Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much, Suchitra, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective ahead of the fifth and final test between India and England, where England would be looking forward to bow out respectfully, and India would indeed think of leaving no stone unturned to make it a memorable victory, especially for the young lads. Now, staying on cricket, India's legendary batter Sachin Tendulkar praises BCCI's decision to make it mandatory for its centrally contracted players to play domestic red ball cricket if they are not on national duty or in the NCA. Sachin Tendulkar posted on X, and I quote his tweet over here: "The Ranji Trophy semi-finals have been riveting. Mumbai's march into the finals was aided by a brilliant batting recovery. Throughout my career, I remained passionate about playing for Mumbai whenever I had the opportunity. Growing up, we had almost 7 to 8 India players in our dressing room, and it was fun to play alongside them." He further said that when Indian players turn up for their domestic teams, it raises the quality of play for youngsters, and sometimes new talent is identified. It also gives the national players a chance to sometimes rediscover the basics. Wonderful to see BCCI given equal priority to domestic cricket, unquote. So this is the tweet that has come up from batting legend Sachin Tendulkar. Moving on in sports buzz, in a major development for India's sportspersons, Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Anurag Singh Thakur announced that Khelo India athletes will now be eligible for government jobs as well. Take a listen.
There's a big announcement for sportsperson. In keeping view with our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of robust sports ecosystem, nurturing the talent at the grassroots level, and turning sports into a lucrative and viable career option, Khelo India athletes will now be eligible for government jobs. Khelo India winners, runners-ups, medal winners. So I'm pleased to announce that DOPT, which is the Department of Personnel with the Government of India, in consultation with the Indian sports, they have made a significant decision, progressive revisions in the eligibility criteria for sports persons seeking the government jobs. That means from today onwards, the players who are the medal winners in the Khelo India Youth, University, Para and Winter Games, they will be eligible for government jobs. Additionally, games and events have been clearly defined to ensure inclusivity across various sports. These revised rules mark a significant stride in supporting our athletes in making Bharat a sporting superpower. The Honorable Prime Minister always wanted this, and we are grateful to the Prime Minister for letting this happen and helping all the athletes who are going to participate in the Khelo India Games, which has become a great platform for the upcoming players to do well. From that platform, they have participated then after in the Commonwealth Games, Asian Games and the Olympic Games. So thank you, Honorable Prime Minister.
Moving on, now we are moving for a short break right now, but still to come on DD India Sports Bus. Major relief for former world number 1 Simona Halep. Her doping ban has been now reduced to 9 months. And Indian tennis ace Sumit Nagal went down to South Korea's Song Chan Hong in India's Indian Well Masters clash.
That never stops, where information shapes our reality. One app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights and authentic information.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching Sports Bus with me, Deepika Mehta. Moving on, defending champions England were handed a tough group including France and Sweden in their Women's Euro 2025 qualifying campaign following the draw. France are ranked number 3 in the world with England at 4 and Sweden at 5. The Euros qualifying campaign begins in the month of April. Now, world champions Spain will take on Denmark, Belgium and Czech Republic in Group A2, while Germany and 8 times European champions and runners-up in 2022 face Austria. Iceland and Poland are placed in Group A4. The 2 groups in each League A group will qualify for the finals in July 2025 alongside hosts Switzerland, who compete in League B, although their automatic qualification has been assured. The remaining 7 spots will be decided by 2 rounds of the playoffs. Staying on soccer, German club Bayern Munich on Tuesday marched into the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League after top scorer Harry Kane struck once in 8th half to steer the Germans to a 3-0 victory over Lazio, with a 3-1 aggregate victory reigniting their title hopes among their fans. The victory also provides instant relief for coach Thomas Tuchel and his team that had won just one of their last 5 matches in all competitions prior to Tuesday and are currently 10 points off the top in the Bundesliga table. In another last 16 clash second leg, Paris Saint-Germain's Kylian Mbappe scored twice to lead them into the Champions League quarter-finals round, with a comfortable 2-1 away to Real Sociedad that wrapped up a 4-1 aggregate victory. Bidding to win their first Champions League title, a disciplined PSG made the most of their chances from counter-attacks, with the lightning-fast Mbappe a constant menace. His brace meant he has now scored 11 of PSG's last 15 Champions League knockout goals. After a remarkable group stage when they went unbeaten to finish ahead of last year's finalists Inter Milan in Group D, La Liga side Real Sociedad, who are struggling with injuries and have won 1 of their last 10 matches in all competitions, ran out of steam. So Manchester City and Real Madrid have home Champions League ties later, aiming for a spot in the quarterfinals. On Tuesday, Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich booked their places in the next round. Now, DD India's Ollie Barrett has a report. Take a look.
Well, PSG beat Real Sociedad 2-1 on the night, which meant a 4-1 aggregate score. 2 goals for Kylian Mbappe. Of course, he is off from PSG at the end of the season and has been used often recently as a substitute, or indeed has been started and then taken off early during the game. So 2 goals for Kylian Mbappe. He could still potentially be important to PSG's Champions League campaign in his final season. At the end of the match, he said that he has no problems with manager Luis Enrique, despite the way that he's been used at times by the PSG boss recently. Harry Kane, also 2 goals against Lazio for Bayern Munich. That led to a 3-0 win at home, 3-1 on aggregate over the 2 legs against the Italian side of Maurizio Sarri. Harry Kane clearly believes that the Champions League is an important trophy that he could still win this season, on his hunt for his first major trophy of his career. That's why he left Spurs, of course. But Bayern Munich are way behind Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, so the Champions League really represents their only genuine chance of a major trophy this season. If they don't win a major trophy this season, Bayern Munich, that would be the first time since 2011-2012. Later on, Manchester City entertain Copenhagen. They are very, very strong favourites to go through in that tie. They already have a 3-1 lead from the first leg. Real Madrid have a 1-0 lead going into their game at home against the German side, RB Leipzig. The draw for the quarterfinals will be made on Friday. Ollie Barrett in London reporting for DD India.
From soccer pitches, now let's move on to tennis courts. 2-time Grand Slam champion Simona Halep was cleared for an immediate return to tennis on Tuesday after the sport's highest court determined that she was not completely to blame for failing the doping test, cutting short her 4-year span to 9 months now.
Former Wimbledon and French Open champion Simona Halep on Tuesday won doping appeal after the top court for global sport, the Court of Arbitration for Sport, cut short her 4-year doping ban to 9 months, a ruling that represents a major victory for the Romanian former world number 1. The Lausanne-based Court of Arbitration for Sport determined that her suspension should be reduced to 9 months, which she has already served, clearing her for an immediate return to tennis. In a statement, CAS said that it has unanimously determined that the 4-year period of ineligibility imposed by the ITF Independent Tribunal is to be reduced to a period of ineligibility of 9 months starting on 7 October 2022, which period expired on 6 July 2023. The 32-year-old Romanian was suspended in October 2022 after testing positive for roxadustat, a banned substance that promotes red blood cell production at the US Open that year. She was also charged with another doping infraction last year due to anomalies in her athlete biological passport, which is a mechanism for monitoring several blood parameters over time to detect potential doping.
She was obviously thrilled with the result. This was the result we were hoping for all along. I think Simona has, she's known all along that she didn't dope on purpose. This was an inadvertent issue with the supplement, and she's been unwavering in her belief that the result at the end would be a just result, and so it took a long time to get there, but she was happy to finally see it.
Halep has blamed contaminated supplements for her positive test at the US Open and accused the International Tennis Integrity Agency of charging her with an ABP violation after the group of experts who assessed her profile learned her identity.
Yeah, so we've already filed suit against the supplement company. That's in the very early stages. And so she intends to see that through. Whether there will be anyone else or any other entities that seek to hold to account, we don't know yet. We haven't discussed that.
An independent tribunal accepted Halep's argument that she had taken contaminated supplements, but said the volume she ingested could not have resulted in the concentration of roxadustat found in her positive sample. Furthermore, the ABP complaint was dropped because the sample taken in late 2022 was immediately after a surgery, and Halep had stated that she would not compete for the remainder of the year.
Indian tennis ace Sumit Nagal went down to South Korea's Wong-Chan Hong after putting up a spirited fight in the final qualifying round of Indian Well Masters, losing by 6-2, 2-6 and 6-7. Nagal recently made history by becoming the first Indian men's singles player in a decade to advance to the second round of the Australian Open. And with this, it's a wrap here on DD India Sports Buzz. But news and updates will continue here on DD India. So don't go anywhere. Keep watching and keep tracking DD India for all latest news and updates from the country and the world. Thank you so much for joining us right now. Namaskar.